You're listening to the MLS Fantasy Insider, bringing you weekly tips, tricks, and advice for the official MLS fantasy game.
Actually, it looks like we've already got some solidarity in the YouTube chat with not being able to log on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode. We are in the ever-fun social portion of our show, where I am getting everything pushed out. It's already out on Twitter, so if you would be so kind and you like to retweet those links, please and thank you. Do share the social media right there. It is going out on the Discord channel right now, so if you are getting smashed with notifications, that is because it is podcast time. So there is everything right there. All right, there we go. If you're joining us for the first time here on YouTube, welcome. Thanks for being with us. We come to you live pretty much every Monday to preview the upcoming round for MLS Fantasy. A quick teaser for you right now, which we will absolutely be covering during the show. Mentioned it last week as well. Next week's going to be a double game week, so you'll definitely want to check in on Monday with the show because teams will start playing on Wednesday, and there'll be lockouts at that time. So you want to be sure you have some of at least the early musings to be able to get your teams developed throughout those first couple of days so you can be ready for Wednesday. But that's not what's happening this week in round 12, so no need to worry, but a little preview right there. What's going on, everybody in chat? I know what you're here for. Here it comes.
Recording in progress.
There we go. There we go. The recording's in progress. It's still funny because Ash is like, you forgot it, Reed. I'm like, no, we do it this way now. We do it this way. So it's good. Discord, YouTube, split screen. Is something messed up? Live? Is it working? Yeah. No, it's all working. Everything's good.
I think he means he's split screening.
Oh, you're split screen, Eric. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Good right there. Yes, FMLS Mondays. Here we go. Nice to have you all here. Please let us know about the volume tonight. I know you guys are good, especially Gene, to let us know we're there. But it looks like we're all good to go, so we shall get started. Hello and welcome to the MLS Fantasy Insider, our preview of Round 12 of the 2024 MLS Fantasy season. This episode is brought to you by the Purple Team. Actually brought to you by the amazing MLS Fantasy Insider Patreons. It's because of you that we are able to keep this podcast going. Learn more about our Patreon project at patreon.com/MLSFI. I'm your host, Reed Connolly from MLSFantasyBoss.com, and tonight I'm joined by my partner in fantasy, Ashley Savage. I'd also like to welcome our special guests tonight, Jason Morris from our Patreon, and Tyler Norman from the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord, and one of our authors. How you all doing tonight?
Shitty. Terrible.
Went from nobody talking to all of us.
Nobody wanted to jump in right there. We'll go ahead and rip this Band-Aid off because it was mentioned on Twitter, and I have a quick update because the biggest news that has hit the fantasy community right now is, of course, the login issues that many people experienced. Unfortunately, our very own Ashley Savage and her hubs was
whole Savage household.
The whole Savage household. It was brutal. We're victims of the technical difficulties. I know many others who are in chat and I've seen online as well as we were kind of snooping through this. Were unable to log in to adjust teams, and that happened sometime after Monday. So at least, thankfully for Ashley, she was able to set a team at least as she prepped for the podcast. Another little benefit. There we go. But as you saw a post early this morning on the Fantasy Soccer Twitter account, we are aware there is an issue affecting MLS fantasy managers trying to log into the game via Facebook. We are working on a resolution and we'll update as soon as we can. We apologize for any inconvenience. Of course, this is for individuals who have their login to the fantasy game set up to be connected to their Facebook account. So if you have another way to connect, either using an MLS Soccer account or I guess Apple TV, I don't know if Google is set up with it or not, but if you log in through your Facebook credentials, that did not happen. And I know that has happened to some people throughout the season, off and on, and oftentimes it's been able to be solved by just repeatedly saying, let me in, let me in, let me in, and eventually it does. But that did not happen this week. The only people who were able to log in is if they still had a window open where they had already been logged in. It was able to continue working, but new logins were not connected. I did reach out to our contacts at MLS, and the only information that I've been able to get right now is that they agree this has been a very frustrating situation. They understand the frustration that is not lost on them, and that all they can say right now is that they're aware of the issue and they are working hard to try to find a resolution. And they're going to keep at least me, and I'm sure everybody else through Twitter, updated. If we find out something first, we'll be sure to put it out there. So at this time, I don't know if the problem's been identified, but it's definitely something that's being worked on. And I know a lot of people have responded to this comment that was posted on Twitter saying, I want my points, give me some points, give me some points. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm going to, like I said, ripping the Band-Aid off.
No.
I don't believe anything's going to happen. It's
No.
It's an unfortunate thing. I don't think there's a legitimately fair way to go back to actually award points, and so people are just going to be stuck with whatever lineup they had at the time that did lock with that setup. So if you had a ruse planned or any kind of manipulations, did not work, and I would not expect anything. I know it sucks. It's definitely not the way that the game should be enjoyed, and it's definitely not the way that at least our partners that we work with through MLS want the game to be presented. But unfortunately, some of these things do kind of come up from time to time, and it's just one of the blips that we're going to have to deal with this season. So be sure to keep all this in mind near the end of the year when we ask for your feedback about what you thought about the 2024 season. Have any suggestions to go forward?
I've started my draft now.
That is totally fine. I totally understand it. So that is the quick update that we have for that. Ashley, you're free to make some comments now, or if you'd rather during our recap section at that time, you're welcome to say them. So
listen, this is I'll try to keep this as short and not incredibly riddled with profanity as I possibly can. I have a sailor mouth, and I try to keep it under control for Reed. Kind asking, and today I make no such promises. I want to start by saying none of this has anything to do with Skylar. And I see some things on Discord. Skylar is the most kind, communicative mouthpiece attached to the MLS side of this. There is nothing he can do. There is nothing that he could move along or change or push for anybody. So I just want to make that clear, as I'm about to absolutely rip MLS a new asshole, that to me, that does not include Skylar. I just want to make that clear. Skylar was the first person to respond to me when I asked originally. He was incredibly apologetic. I respect everything that he does on that end of things and how he communicates with people on our end of things. So I just want to make that clear. I got way too mad about this, incredibly mad about it, because, well, for a bunch of reasons. You know, I was talking to Tyler about it before this, and Tyler said, maybe I'm just less competitive than you. But I want anyone who's ever flirted with a top 20, top 30 ranking to think about how they would feel if they got locked out round 12 of the season. And because I understand it didn't affect a bunch of people, and I know that I look like an old, dumb, white woman idiot for still using Facebook as my login, but that's just how I started. When I started in 2012, because I didn't want to remember a password, that was how I looped it in. And so I've just done it that same way every year. That's how my husband does it. I've just never even acknowledged the other two sign-in options. So I understand enough, because I know that I'm not a technology person, and he might not admit it, but I guarantee you that Reed thought it was a me problem, not a Facebook problem when we first started talking about it.
That is not true.
Yeah, huh? Reed went onto Discord and was like, is anyone else having this problem? Like, I made it up. But I understand.
Research
Yeah.
for the pod.
I got you. I understand that this is in the minority, that the people who use Facebook as the login is not the majority of people. I hear that. but I don't fucking care. It's affecting big groups of people. It affected me. This is the best start to a season I've ever had. Since 2012, I've been playing this game longer than I've been married to my husband or been a mom. It's one of the things I've done the longest in my life. Is it a stupid, silly game? Yes. But is it my stupid, silly game? Also, yes. I got on this podcast with Blaine when Blaine came on for his first episode of the season, and I defended MLS in the sense that I don't think that they're trying to push people out of playing the game. I know they're not putting as much into it, but there's still money and prizes attached to this game. So they need to figure this shit out. The fact that it took this long and is still not fixed, and an entire round of this is not going to count for people, is absolutely obscene to me. This has never happened in any other fantasy related game that I have ever played. I understand that this little game we love is not supported by MLS in the way EPL fantasy and fantasy NFL is. I hear that. But I sat here and was like, Blaine, don't be down on MLS. They're still into it. If they didn't want, Reed and I both said, if they didn't want people to play anymore, they would have just shut it down. They're not trying to edge people out. They're just not giving it the money and the backing that they always have, which is fine. But they still have thousands of dollars attached to it and all of these prizes and all of these things. So why are you not, don't half-ass a thing. You full ass or you no ass. This is ridiculous to me. I'm so pissed. I will never say my actual ranking for the rest of the round. I will add those 15 points to every rank I have the rest of this round and everything ever, because that is absolutely ridiculous. I am lucky. I know there's so many people that couldn't set a team at all, but because I come here and talk to everybody every week about this game that I care more about than MLS clearly does, I set a team for this. But that's not the team. Who sets a team on a Monday and doesn't touch it by Saturday? Crazy people. I am not one of those people. I want to mess with it. I never have a scrub. I never have a scrub in my game because I'm loaded and I don't need one. Have it for weeks. So I didn't get to bring in any of my bench points, which, to be fair, was just Mukhtar. But I want those points. I still captained Messi, thank God. But there were so many things that I wanted to change, and I wanted to bring in those bench points. So, I mean, I guess shame on me for playing a system that a lot of people do with no scrub, but there were so many people who couldn't do anything. My husband sat there. The entire reason I can't still access the team, because I had it open on a browser for a while, and then enough people who know more about technology than me said, try clearing your caches and your cookies. So I did, so Spencer could log in, and I lost my tab. So I screwed.
Oh, no.
That was the sacrifice I made as a wife, and it absolutely burned me. I have nowhere else to go. I think this is an absolute fucking embarrassment. I have no idea how you fix it because I don't know anything about technology, but I cannot accept that there isn't a way to fix this. It's so stupid. I'm so pissed. And I'm glad for everyone who isn't affected by it and can just hear me rant and be like, oh, what a poor little baby. She's just whining and crying. I care about this stupid game. It is our stupid game. I want to play. Stop kicking me out. I don't want to bring up the woman card, but I will if I have to. I'm done.
Epic. That was epic. Thank you for those comments. Everyone agreed. I think this is going to be one of our epic episodes, and may only be exclusive for Ashley's rant, exclusive to the video audience. So
Patreons.
There we go. Exclusive to Patreons and YouTube subscribers. So there we go right there. Well, that being said, we are very happy that Ashley has joined us tonight, and we're also very happy to have Jason with us, who is one of our longest Patreon supporters right there, and of course having Tyler back. Them coming on together, not always having two guests, but since Ashley was not able to really interact, could not play, she is here in spirit to help keeping things ushered on.
I do want to say, I didn't want to come on tonight. I'm so much more angrier than that rant was, and if you can believe it, Reed was very kindly pushy, and I adore Jason, and he only comes on once a season. Tyler's fine. I talk to him all the time. But I didn't. Reed is the only reason. Reed and Jason are the only reason I'm showing up. I didn't want to be here and talk about this, so I will
Wow.
try
She
to
doesn't even
not.
care about me.
No,
I see how it is.
So kudos, kudos.
I
Well,
see. Nope. Go
but
ahead.
I just want to say
Nope. I get it.
that Reed is making me be here. I'm being forced.
she came here to avoid the fines that for she
Mhm.
didn't want
Only here.
to pull a Reynoso, and so that was what was
So
going
she's
on right
pulling a beast mode instead.
That's
correct.
that's what we're going to do.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we are happy to have you guys here, and we are still going to jump into for those of us who were able to interact with the game and view some. We're going to talk about some of our takeaways from round 11 right now. So let's start with Jason. How did you do?
Well, it's not going to make Ashley feel any better, but even with not being able to log onto the game, she beat me by like 15 points. So I got a 96. I'm just going to be.
I beat you, Jason. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I told my girlfriend that I'm just going to be comic relief. Like I'm coming to you from the District of Columbia, the nation's capital, the erstwhile 51st state of the nation. And usually when I come on the show, I wear my DC United jersey, but tonight I'm wearing Chicago Fire red in honor both of like Zach Thornton got into the Ring of Honor for a lot of reasons, not the least of which that I used to live in Chicago, and the Chicago Fire are a perpetually bad team who tries really hard, but they're still really bad. And I'm, for some reason, like perpetually not very good at this game, even though I try really hard. So I got 96 points. My overall round rank is garbage. I lost all my head-to-heads. What else do you want? Read like actual thoughts on players?
Give us your takeaways.
Okay. Let's see. What did I put? So I think the stuff that I put like in the rundown was probably things that other people would, share as well. I mean, Christian Espinoza, I think, finally, had a pretty strong game. I was impressed by Austin's defense. They did a lot better, like going to Vancouver than I thought. I mean, it seems like from the eye test or from kind of the numbers that I've been seeing, that they've actually been pretty good defensively, but for some reason I just haven't believed it. So I watched most of that game. I would say other takeaways that people probably, I'm sure that Tyler or Ashley or Reed, you guys will have more, study takeaways or some things. I will say, since I watched the DC United game, I don't think anybody's really taken any United players in fantasy, maybe Benteke. So I do follow them pretty close enough to say Teddy Kudapietro came back from injury this week. He played for about 30 minutes. And I feel like when he's in the lineup, he really makes Benteke a better player. So, but Benteke didn't score this week. I think he had like a secondary assist. So they've been changing their kind of lineup and formation a bit. Christian Dahome is playing kind of an attacking fullback role. Aaron Herrera's been playing pretty well. So I wouldn't say you'd pick up any DC players, but maybe see how it goes in a few weeks. And maybe especially when we have if we have people that are going away for Copa America, if you have some of your go-to players, Messi or I don't know, whoever else is going away for like internationals and stuff, there may be some DC players you might be thinking about picking up. The other stuff I would say is I'm kind of like breaking up with attacking fullbacks. They just haven't been successful for me. And I have a question for others who are better at this game than I am. After seeing the results, like with Messi and Suarez, is there any reason to not roster both Messi and Suarez every time if they're starting, right? Is there any reason to even look, elsewhere at this point for, like a second? I understand Messi, of course, but like I'm just considering putting Messi and Suarez on the team all the time and maybe filling in that third forward spot with somebody.
Tyler's wearing a Miami jersey. Why doesn't he answer?
Well, I think that's a great question and one that we'll answer in our third segment when we talk about our picks. So but it's a great takeaway. I mean, there's a very legitimate topic that I think is more prevalent in people's minds now than it has been at other times in the season, where it seemed more like maybe kind of like tongue in cheek when you said that before, or other people said that before.
Sure.
Tyler, what about you?
That's what I got.
Oh, you done, or are you still going before I go on? You done?
That's what I got. Yeah, done.
All right.
Done.
All right. I had a pretty decent week, I'd say. If you had a decent week, it's like a mid to low hundreds. I'm at 123 points is where I ended, which was week rank 590, and now I'm up to overall rank 152 with an asterisk apparently.
Yeah. Everybody's on an asterisk. Everybody.
I had a Toronto defense stack for the beginning, and I was so happy about it. So happy up until
that was late, huh?
let's see, the 87th minute when their defense shut down and Junkwa just ripped a shot from the middle of the 18, and there was no saving that. So lost that Toronto stack, and I feel like that was a pretty big differential stack, so it would have looked nice. So then I had to make a big decision on my pivot. I'm like, I can either go Utvik plus Fry, or I can go Takaoka and Ilinich. I chose to go Utvik and Fry, which I am so happy about because the other one would have been so bad. Ilinich subbed early. I already wasn't feeling it with NYC, so I don't even know why I was looking at him. And then my logic was, if I'm gonna bet on a Vancouver defense getting a clean sheet, which I think this needs to be done for everybody going forward. If you're gonna bet on a defense going forward, think about if that goalkeeper actually is gonna get shots against them. Takaoka, I think, only had one shot against him all game.
Yeah.
So he was never going to get any bonus points. It's a 7 or a bust. And my thought was, well, Sounders always break down defensively. At some point, Fry is going to get some saves. So even if he doesn't get a clean sheet, he'll get a 3 or a 4. So I was like, I can either get a 3 or a 4 from Fry, or a 2 or a 7 from Tack. So I went with the Fry Utvik over that. And I think that's what I'm going to do going forward, too. When I'm looking at clean sheets, I'm going to think about defense before I look at goalie. Especially with ball recoveries gone.
Yeah, that had been the bread and butter stat historically was recovery, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got 111.
What?
Doing nothing, but I should have fucking got a 126. I don't remember who I had. I don't know who did well. I captained Messi because everyone should. I couldn't change anything. I will. That's all I got. I don't know. I have nothing else. I literally can't even.
So probably not 126 because not all of those 50. You were swapped some of your points with somebody else.
So I want 15 of my points. I wanted to keep.
Who would you have subbed out?
I would have subbed out Santi.
Okay, and how many points did he get?
3.
So you would have had 12
14
points.
points. 14 points because I wanted my keeper.
So you would have gotten 11 points.
So
I would have had I would have had 14 points.
You would have gotten 11.
But she would have changed her keeper. She would have changed her keeper.
I would have changed my keeper.
Okay.
I promise. I've done this.
There we go. No, we got it. We got it.
Yeah. So 125.
Fantasy math. There we go. 125. I'll have some quick takeaways. I saw a few games. May the 4th was, of course, the first anniversary for myself and Lady Boss, and so we were out playing Star Wars trivia with that. Also being sent pictures of apparently my doppelganger at another game, which Lady Boss was not impressed with. So, but that was pretty fun to interact on Discord with that. I ended up with a 122 for the round. Mixed bag with head-to-heads. A lot of my head-to-heads were really close in those 120s. I did go up in the ranks, and I think Tyler, your explanations. I was thinking through what I was going to say, and that all came out very, very slow. But your explanation of where people likely saw rises or falls, if you were in the 110s, mixed bag probably with this round. But if you got in those high 110s and definitely into the 120s, you likely saw some increase depending on where you were, and if there's an asterisk by your team or not. For me, again, we had this conversation last week. Defense was tough this round, and we knew this was going to be tough going into this round. One of the things that I had questioned was Houston was tagged as having one of the better clean sheet chances. I know it was tagged in Skylar's article as well with fantasy, and they came away with the clean sheet. So that was one I was not super confident in, so I did not go with Houston players. I did try to have Nashville players on my bench, going with the double right there. Unfortunately, I misread a lineup, and I did not think Zimmerman was starting, and so I took him out of my team and didn't get those points, but that's fine. But I did end up going with Vancouver as my backup, so I did those switcheroos and got those 15 points right there. Brooks Lennon did not produce. I'm a lot in that boat that you are, Jason, as well as I'm really questioning the offensive defender production this season and just seeing where I am. It cut your budget down some as well. The big pain that I felt, that I know so many others did as well, again, is the Catranis over there with Real Salt Lake getting subbed out at the 59th minute and them getting a clean sheet and him not getting those points. So it happens. It happens. So otherwise it was fine. I had Gigi on the bench, only ended up having my subs work out to get Mukhtar on, so I got those 14 points. And then Santi and Gald and Almada didn't do as well for me. The Almada one, I was really hoping for more as well with that game. I want to agree with what you guys were saying about Vancouver by saying that game was shocking for me, that to have so many chances wasted. I mean, I think that was one of those takeaways is surprising result for Austin, but I think it was like 26 to I don't even know if Austin broke double digits for shots, just total shots, not shots on goal, but Vancouver had 23, 26, 27 shots. Only 7 of them were on goal. So I feel like there was just a lot of wasted opportunity for Vancouver, but that opportunity is there. So I think that is still very encouraging. Gald getting 8 is pretty good for someone who didn't have any goals or assists. So that was definitely respectable and shows the quality that we look for with him. So that was one of the big shocks for me. Also, tip of the hat to Colorado as well, getting their clean sheet there. That was definitely one I think was unexpected. I did see a few people talk about Colorado in chat, and after seeing some of the offensive production that they had in Cincinnati last week, I questioned New York's ability to keep a clean sheet, which is why I moved away from Freese. But I was surprised that New York didn't at least get one goal, being at home with the way that playing on that baseball field usually works. But big tip of the hat
about that.
Go ahead.
I would like to point out that I have already been talking about this for a long time, and I questioned so many people this past week about picking NYC defense, and people know exactly what I'm about to say if I question them. You never bet for or against Colorado this year. They are Portland Timbers territory.
That's Tyler's motto for the year. He said it a bunch.
Do not bet for or against Colorado. They've been shut out by one team. Portland, ironically, has also only been shut out by that exact same team. Who is it? Houston.
I said this last week on the pod.
Yeah. Colorado has scored in every game except for that Houston game. Portland just got shut out for the second time this past weekend against a non-Houston team, ironically enough.
And that echoes a similar comment I made when I was on Holding the High Line with Matt Pollard, was that the one thing that I can say about Colorado this year is they are not a target team, as they have been in the past. So maybe not a fantasy go-to, but they're definitely not one of those teams we go down the list, unlike Chicago, to Jason's point. They're not a team that we're just like, who are they playing? I want to get some people from them. So absolutely, that's not, I think that was what a lot of people fell into, was, Colorado on the road at New York City, the weird baseball field. As I was going to say, tip of the hat to Matt Pollard with his little lineup graphic to make it look like a baseball diamond with the players put in there. Very well done. And also, tip of the hat to all of the teams that embraced Star Wars, that went with the Star Wars themed lineup. Well done. Well done, everyone.
I loved the RSL lineup the
Yes.
most.
Yes, with the
RSL
crawl.
in Nashville was good too. Yeah.
The
crawl with Nashville.
They did very well. So big things there. And then of course the one pity thing that happened for Ash, of course, Seattle coming away with 1 point against LA. Maybe you should have gotten some more, but I think we expected this with the injuries that LA has right now that they're dealing with. So that attack has been hindered, and so we're keeping an eye on that right there. But we didn't say it. I guess we have to at least mention it. Messi just destroyed. I mean, we should say, yes, you had Messi, there it was, but breaking the record for assists, doing all sorts of crazy things. Again, it's a broken record. Everyone knows who listens to it, but this is why it's just so much automatic captain, automatic in your team, and you're just building your team around him. So well done to Miami for that win. Also kind of frustrating, but that's a different rant.
You gotta let it go. I said this last week.
Hey, he was in my team. He was my captain, so I've let it go. This is just as the fan.
I'm anger guide your fantasy choices. But I said this last week. I'll say it every week. Anyone who thinks that not doing Messi is like a cute way to try to gain ranking or something should look at these last 2 weeks.
Right.
And
Plus the 4 weeks.
It was nuts. So just crazy right there. So that's what we have. Just some general recaps right there. Some of the things we got right, some of the things we got wrong, surprises. That's the way it works. We're coming to you on Monday before a lot of stuff's happened. And unlike login issues, the crazy things that happen in MLS are part of why we love it so much with this game and with this league. So that's just part of what we get to. And with the double game week coming up, heads up, double game week coming up, that's going to get even crazier with how things go. But we'll talk to you more about what to expect coming up in round 12 right after this.
It's going to be even crazier when they see some of the names that I'm putting on Yellow Card Watch right now.
You better. That's a good
thing. I know. There. I feel like MLS is really trolling us coming into this.
145.9 is your budget, Eric. Holy cow. That's like Ashley territory.
What's mine?
For sure. I can't see your budget. I can see all the other stuff to help you. I am at I'm at 145.1. Okay, well,
I have to.
Maybe that's. I said in chat earlier.
I just saw
like
a bunch of people
million.
open up the mega reference trying to figure out who it is.
Ashley, you've got like 300 million. That's
300 million.
You just have a whole team of Messies. That's what it
Give
is.
or take 5 mil.
I've got 144 million. I just don't know how to spend it.
I'm at 148.3.
I think I'm at like 160.
Okay, let me get the.
When I can check, I'll let you know.
I don't doubt that.
No, I've been like a good 10 ahead of Reed for a while. What is yours?
You're in the 150s.
145.
Yeah. I don't know. It'd be nice to know, not right now. Wouldn't it be fun to contribute?
It would. It would. All right, here we go. Hello and welcome back to our housekeeping section going into round 12. Going to skip the league recaps, kind of doing that every other round right now in the interest of time, but you guys are... Oh, how did you do, Tyler?
Nope.
How did
Go
you...
ahead, you can skip it. Nope, just skip it.
Tyler apparently did well and I skipped it, so I made that decision before looking at the leagues, but he is upset, but he did well, so congratulations, Tyler, for all the things that you
did a great job.
I appreciate it.
Can we mention it before we... I know we're skipping through it, but can we make one thing clear?
Absolutely.
Who did I play in head-to-head this week in MLS Invitational?
Oh, yes, we did do that. So, yes, Ashley, of course, had her login issues if you were joining us just late, and she reached out to Skylar to try to help get this solution. Did not hear back with a resolution, though Skylar is definitely working diligently to try to help identify one. But Ashley did go head-to-head against him in the hosts league this round. So is it a conspiracy? Is it shenanigans? I don't know.
He scored very high, to be fair.
Did Skylar cause the
I wouldn't know,
petition?
Tyler, because I can't see anything.
It's okay. Let me tell you how bad it
Thank
was.
you.
Let me open it.
But that was just a fun little thing. Of course.
Reed texted me in the middle of me like epically melting down to him, and he was like, "Oh, you're never gonna guess who you played in head-to-head this week."
Put 122 on you.
I had
122.
I had 125.
See, there it is. That's the story. That's what's sticking to it. Anyway, we're talking about actually what's coming up for round 12. The round starts on Saturday, May 11th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time with a bunch of teams playing. So this is 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 start territory. You could easily get some teams to work. You've got a couple of teams playing at 10:30, so those 7:30 teams will have the rotations. You also have Cascadia Cascadia Derby, whatever you guys call it. You guys got that coming on with Portland versus Seattle on Sunday. So easy keeperoos and switcheroos can be activated this round. This is a big round for those derbies, though. Of course, we have the Hell is Real Derby that's going on. We've got some of those Texas teams playing against each other, Sporty Kansas City versus Houston. So a lot of games coming on for some good competition, which is always going to be crazy with the scores in general. Moving on, like I said, we've got the teams on Saturday and Sunday. Nobody is on a double game week. That will come next week. Round 13 is our first double game week, so be ready for Wednesday games and just some massive scores right there. We have one team on a bye, and that is Minnesota. So they can easily be utilized to help you activate your switcheroos. But do also be aware that we have the first round of MLS teams entering Open Cup during this week, and also Canadian Championship is going on. For Open Cup, we have Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, and San Jose all playing on the 7th. And then on the 8th, we have Sporting Kansas City, Real Salt Lake, LAFC, and Seattle all playing Open Cup games. Now, what types of teams will they field? Will they be A teams? Will they be BFG teams? Who knows? But definitely a different Open Cup roster. If you had missed that, not every team is even in Open Cup this year. So those are the few teams who are playing. Moving on to the Canadian Championship. If you're looking at the MLS schedule site, it may be incorrect depending on when you're looking at it. Currently, as of this recording, only Vancouver is listed as playing in the Canadian Championship, and that is on the 7th. That is incorrect from our Canadian sources, and Tyler's double checking. Toronto and Montreal are also playing. Montreal on the 7th and Toronto on the 8th. So all three Canadian teams will be playing midweek. So pay attention. At least go to the MLS Soccer website to check out what those lineups look like and to see if there may potentially be an impact to the starting lineup that you have for those teams. So that's for the general recap for this round. Of course, we're going to have our update from the Mega Reference, and we have our very own Tyler here to walk us through that. So take it away.
Yeah, it's actually a very quick recap this week, luckily. I can fit it all without even scrolling, it's so small. Let's start off with some good news. Andreas Ivicic, welcome back. The goalkeeper who used to be in Portland is now in New England, and he didn't have a half bad game. He got a clean sheet in his first start. Another really good first appearance was Matias Rojas for Miami. Came in to play 45. I think he got 2 goals, maybe an assist, or was it just 2 goals? I think it was just 2 goals.
There's at least 2 goals. I don't know if he had. I don't know if he had an assist. But
His first goal was phenomenal, and it was like his first 2 touches of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Just a clean 1 touch and then the left foot curl. It was like, this guy is going to be great for Miami, and he's going to fit in just fine. Only 4 suspensions this week. We have Tomas Avalos for Miami, has yellow card accumulation and is out. Rodrigo Schlegel picked up a red card. Brett Halsey picked up a red card within like 12 minutes. 2 yellows. And then Brian Vera for RSL is on yellow card accumulation, so he's suspended. Other than that, not many injuries either happened this week, surprisingly. I have an update on Nathan for Seattle. He is out 6 to 8 weeks with, I believe, a hamstring injury.
Ooh.
Re-aggravated it. But also a good update on Pedro de la Vega. They said he's doing really good and should be back soon.
Don't forget Bupenza got cold cocked. So.
Oh,
yeah.
please talk about this, you guys.
Bupenza got in. So I don't even know what happened.
Nobody does
like a bar fight, like what, a bar fight with an actual
sort of
boxer.
It was either a bar fight or a bet or something.
Guys, now you're making assumptions. Let's say the stats. Pupenza's out for 6 to 8 weeks with a broken jaw.
A broken
that
jaw
he
to a
got
professional
from a man
boxer.
who is a professional boxer and was 17-2 professionally going into that altercation, and now, as Reed said, is 18-2.
So, at Pizza Bar.
I would
And
also
now he's
say,
out for
Those are
6
the
to 8
only other
weeks.
facts we know about this injury.
if you guys haven't seen the how Brian Vera from RSL got the yellow card that got him to accumulation, it's quite hilarious, and
Okay,
you should.
I'll check it.
You should watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He probably should have
Pretty
gotten
good.
2 yellows in that whole altercation, to be honest. It
Yeah.
should have been a straight red
Yeah,
at that
but
point.
it was spectacular.
Petretta for Toronto picked up an injury. I didn't see what type. Miguel Araujo for Portland, probably not really worth talking about. And then Sam Adekube for Vancouver, a lot of people were frustrated about. He took a shot and pulled his hamstring in the same shot. So he landed awkward and immediately asked for a sub after shooting the ball.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right. Thank you so much, Tyler, for giving us that rundown. If you are interested in learning more about who is and isn't injured, who's available, who are set piece takers, who is out of the game, going to be an easy switcheroo, or just anything or staying up to date, head over to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord community. Head down to the Fantasy Tools section and check out the Mega Reference. It is a community curated project that is just an amazing resource to help you keep on top of these various injuries and suspensions and warnings that are not always reliable through our MLS sources. And so, yeah, head over to the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord community and check that out. The easiest way to do that is to go to mlsfantasyboss.com/Discord. It's fun, it's free, and there's all sorts of awesome people who hang out there to chat and give you tips. So head over there now. But now I know that we're getting ready to get into what everyone has come here for. Unless you came here to hear Ashley ranting, then you are just so blessed tonight.
Your
Might
way
not
out.
be over. Could
It's-
still come up.
Could be there. You're in for more. But we are going to get into previewing our early player targets going into round 12 right after this. I mean, I have to assume that's why half the people are tuning in tonight. Is like Ashley is in rare form.
Spencer made fun of me because he was like, every time I'd send something in Discord, he was like, you just want people to tell you they feel bad for you. And I was like, I want people to be as mad as I am, because if it happened to them, they'd be as mad as I am.
It was
Oh
funny.
yeah, for sure. I'd be mad. Yeah.
I mean, on the way back from dinner, my wife was like, "So you looking forward to your podcast?" And I was like, "Oh yes." And she said, "Oh yeah, why is that?" And I said, "Oh, Ashley's mad." And she was like, "What?"
Ashley's mad.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, she had a problem,
Pretty mad.
and she's so mad. It's gonna be great." And so people are gonna love it. So it's all good. All right, let's see here. Social.
Am I the new Blaine?
Oh no. If anything, you're like in Guy Sanchez territory right now. So it's all
Okay.
It's all okay.
I'll take that. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I don't want to be, Blaine level ranting. But
No.
thanks, Christian.
All right, there is. The social is out. Again, if you want to retweet this one, I know this is a segment of the show that people love to join in for, so please do send that out. And welcome if you're joining us for this segment right here as we're getting ready to go into our picks. Welcome back to our third segment where we are talking about our initial player targets going into round 12, starting as always with keepers and defenders. Jason, who are you looking at?
Okay. So I spent a lot of my initial lineup has a lot of money in forwards and midfield, so defenders and keepers are not so much there. But what I decided to go with was at least as a kind of starting point. Let's see. Let me scroll down here. So I had Sean Johnson as like the first end of my keeper last week, so I'm going to go back to that again. Maybe Roman Berkey. And then I guess I'd probably pivot to Stefan Fry. So I generally try and run a keeperoo. I have the money for it. Sometimes I get jammed up because depending on who you choose in the first half, you're kind of stuck with things to choose in the back. If I depending on if my money was no object, I'd probably be really interested in getting Wagner from Philadelphia. Even though we were talking about maybe being skeptical about attacking defenders, he seems like he's doing quite well. Orlando's down Schlegel, so I'm not super convinced that they're going to be able to defend really well. I'd probably also be interested in Catranas from RSL and maybe Bombito from Colorado. But I don't have a lot of money, so I've also got a list of other defenders from Toronto, St. Louis, like Chicago and Dallas as less expensive defenders that I would put in to kind of make up budget. But if I can grab one of those more expensive guys, maybe Wagner especially, I'd probably try and fit them in. Yeah. And I was talking to Tyler about this before the show. I've been trying to do like defender double stack and a keeperoo the last few weeks because I've kind of figured out how to do it with the money, but it just hasn't paid off. I've just been like what happened with Toronto, keep seeing. So I'm thinking about maybe switching that up and trying to pursue a different strategy. So maybe those of you who are doing better this season can talk to me about strategy on how I might handle that.
I would like to quickly, sorry, I just want to mention, because I want to help Jason, that Seattle has only had 2 shutouts against Portland in the last 6 years. And I pulled it up. And Tyler will check me because he won't believe me. There have been other shutouts.
No. I'm not going to check you. I'm standing by my same statement.
Yeah, there's been Portland shut them out, but the only time that Seattle has had a shutout was twice in the last 6 seasons. And
don't bet for against Portland.
But it's in Portland.
I think there's going to be goals in that game for sure.
Yeah, I understand that it's Portland or Seattle because they're the next day.
The only team available. Yeah.
But as a Seattle fan, I want to advise you against that.
Okay. Well, then maybe there's some other. Maybe I should. Money differently, right?
And just have a good stand on this, but for money, I would suggest Hugo Lloris as the late LA game. But I know that's a hot topic right now.
I kind of thought about, what's his name? Blaine's favorite left back for LAFC. Yeah, Hollingshead is like super inexpensive. So I guess if you need
not a bad show.
Yeah.
There's some cheap players. Sorry, Tyler, go ahead. I just wanted to say that about Seattle.
No. Are you still going, Jason? You want to keep talking?
No, that's.
All right. I'm pretty simple on defense this week. I have Berkey into Call Me Crazy, McMath.
Oh.
And I know my keeper goes into an away keeper. Imagine that. My reasoning isn't that I think LA Galaxy is bad. I mean, without Jovic, they're not great. But my reasoning is that RSL's defense looks phenomenal. They look so good right now. And I think just based on how good they have been, maybe without Brian Bear, it's going to hurt them. But I really like the idea of just, why not try out an RSL game every once in a while? And I know it worked last week, could work this week, maybe not, because it's LA Galaxy with Ricky Pooch back.
Yeah.
But you never know. My defenders, I have Lennon because I just feel like you can't fade Lennon at home regardless of how bad he does the week before. You just can't fade Lennon. And then I have Wagner because you always bet against Orlando, especially without two of their starting center backs, with Schlegel suspended, and then I think Bricalo is partially injured, which is why he didn't start. And I'm currently sitting on Hebert just because he's the cheapest St. Louis guy. And I'm kind of following Ashley's logic. Why don't just grab the cheapest one? You don't need to go all in unless they have really good bonus point production, which is like a Veselinovic, but he even bested compared to the other defenders.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of on that. I'm considering an RSL defender. And then I really want to point out something that was very surprising to me after looking back at stats. One of my favorite differentials from 2 years ago, last year, Rodriguez. I think it was 2 years ago was Rodriguez.
Well, it's 2 years ago, yeah.
He is on a tear right now. He's got 2 goals and an assist, and then he had a game with 4 bonus points. And he's been scored on 9 times in those games. He's put up a 5, 7, 6, 10. Like that's pretty impressive for allowing 9 goals over that time. I do want to put an asterisk there that it's 2 goals and an assist, but it means he's getting up in the attack. So I think that's worth keeping an eye on. The 4 bonus point game was against Colorado at home, and now they're at Colorado. So maybe Colorado's really aggressive again and they get a lot of bonus points. Who knows? But that's all I got.
Yeah, and I'll clarify that I think you're crazy, not necessarily because you're going with RSL on the road against LA, but because you're going with a 8:30 game moving into a 10:30 game, and you're not going to get to see all those games because one's going to start late. They're both going to start
2
late.
hours.
But yeah, well, you're going to have to
I usually get
make a call before the end. And how'd that work out for Toronto?
It's like stoppage time. That's all I get.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. Ashley and I are combined in this segment. So do you have any comments maybe before I move into?
I filled this entire document out with just the middle finger emoji. Answer every line, and I meant that. But I will.
I was wondering if that was a holdover from previous rundowns.
Never done it. It was new. It was new to this round.
Is raw emotion.
I like Berkey, but the problem with that is it makes me kind of stuck for who to do on the back end, and I want to like Lloris, but LAFC have only had 3 shutouts all year, and one of them was when Nashville got that red card, and the other one was Toronto. So that's really like 2 shutouts all year, if you think about it. So I don't know. Their defense and keeper are cheap because they've been shitty. I think that a lot of us are kind of leaning into the LAFC of last season, right? And I don't think the defense has shown up in that same way. So it makes me hesitant to have them as my fallback, if that makes sense. But I do really like Berkey this week. And I like St. Louis defenders. And then I'll let you kind of touch on the defenders you like. We liked a lot of the same people this week defensively.
Yeah, first I want to tip New York Red Bulls. They have one of the better statistical chances for a clean sheet this weekend going against a struggling New England team. So I currently have a whole line of Red Bulls guys on my bench right there. So, of course, Coronel there as a keeper option and Tolkien there as a defense option are just the classic go-tos right there. But again, anyone that works with your budget, Tolkien's been pretty cheap, though, right here. So that's one I'll add to the list of what you guys have already been talking about. The difficult thing for me is, of course, that's the 7:30 game, and so who would I pivot into after that? So I'm looking at the 9:30s, the 10s, and then Sunday. Don't like the Sunday for the game, the things that you guys have already mentioned right now with Portland and Seattle. Not a huge fan of the LAFC. I know Lloris has been very common right there. So the wild card I'm going to throw up in there. I love the McMath shout, Tyler. I mean, I think that's as good as any if you're looking for some chances. I don't think Vancouver's going to keep the clean sheet. Really hoping for New York, if I'm all honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, this could be a huge flyer on someone like going with Colorado to see can they do a second shutout. San Jose Earthquakes have been someone we've bet against. They did grab those 3 goals last week and the win. So is Colorado a better bet? That is not something I would. It's a fallback 100%. I mean I think if you're going with one of those 7:30 guys, there's not a great keeperoo option right there. You're really banking on the first side of this keeperoo right there, and after that you're just like, well.
Honestly, if I get a 4, I'm keeping
Exactly. I mean, it's a tough one for the keeperoo just because of the way the teams line up. But I don't think Colorado is any worse of a bet as going with McMath if you're going to try to bet on that, and they're at home. So that's a nice little bonus that people have there. With the defenders, agree with a lot of what you guys have mentioned. Lennon, Wagner, Tolkien, already mentioned there. I'm going to have someone else, and then a scrub. I honestly don't know who that scrub is yet. I love the idea of taking a shot with St. Louis going against Chicago. I am concerned about the Hell is Real Derby with some of the struggles Cincinnati has had with their offense. Lucho was pulled early during the game. I've not heard of an injury. Maybe he's just going to rest for the Hell is Real Derby. Who knows what happens? But Cincinnati is going up to Columbus, and there have been some struggles. So I could definitely see if someone wanted to go with a Columbus defender. Maybe he's on your bench. Maybe you just start him. Like Amundsen's been one of the go-tos. So I do worry some about that one. But I like a lot of the options got to mention up here. Charlotte could even be one that you're looking at as well with some of the struggles Nashville's had. It hit for them last week, but again, they've not been super consistent, and they're on the road there. So
I want to like Dallas too, with that later kickoff, but I tend to try to avoid the Derby games defensively, and I know Austin is a relatively new one, but still, and the way that Austin was able to go into Houston, who I think is a much better defensive team, and pull a goal onto them, makes me a little nervous, even though Dallas defense has been on the up.
To be honest,
that goal that Austin got against Houston was
crazy,
pure luck.
No, pure luck. Know, but it still happened, right? Also, look at what Tyler said about that Toronto shutout getting blown. Like those things happen enough that it makes me hesitant with the Texas Derby. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Tyler.
I actually look at that Austin one, and they've had 3 clean sheets in a row.
Austin has?
I would prefer Austin over Dallas there. And and 2 of them are on the road.
If you're going to talk road defense.
Hold up. Austin has a clean sheet in Houston, a clean sheet at home against LA Galaxy with Ricky Pooch.
Yeah, with all of them.
And then a clean sheet on the road to Vancouver. Forget the ref stuff.
Sure.
So I think Austin actually has a non-zero chance to get another clean sheet, especially with how bad Dallas looks.
I would actually lean Houston if I'm going, who has a proven defense so far this season, if I'm going a road defense, but I'm not going to touch that, I don't think. Well, I can't touch anything, but if I could, I don't think I would.
To be fair, their only other clean sheet this season is in Seattle.
Houston or Austin?
Austin. They have 4 clean sheets, 3 of them are on the road.
Yeah, well, Dallas can't score just as bad as Seattle can't score, so maybe.
So we'll see. Throw up there. Dallas is pretty high in the clean sheet expectations, so we will see what happens. But let's move on right now to our midfielders. Tyler, who are you looking at?
Yeah, let's see. There's so many options this week. It's hard to pick midfield, in my opinion. I think Lucho is a lock. Almada is kind of a pivotal, but I think he's pretty close to lock for me because you just can't fade against him at home. And I learned that the hard way. I have Christian Espinoza because he's on a tear right now, if I remember right. He's just, he had a 3 the week before, but he's been really good and consistent. I don't like Ricky Pooch this week, but I have him mostly because the floor. And then I really, really, really want Evander to be back and healthy because if he's healthy, he is in my team.
Oh,
if he's not, I have to consider so many different people. But it's so risky right now to pick him with it being a Sunday game. So my considerings right now, I think Forsberg has a very, very good shout this week, playing at home against a poor
Do you
defense.
have anything on him, Tyler Evander? I tried to look stuff up. It was really hard to find
on
anything.
Evander, I have not found anything. It's just questionable. There's nothing about him being out.
Yeah.
And it just says leg. Questionable leg.
He's a questionable leg.
Would you still take him? You would still take him even though he hasn't, it's been 2 weeks? He hasn't played for 2 weeks, right, Tyler?
If he starts, I'm taking him.
Okay.
Yeah, if he starts, I'd take him, absolutely.
If he doesn't start, you pivot. But that's hard to do on a Sunday. I think Gazdag has a very good chance this week, too. Again, not someone I'm super comfortable taking. If I grab him, he's definitely a bench play. But my fallback, if I have Evander, which I currently do, my fallback off of Vander would be Joao Paulo, not Rusnak, because Paulo has been getting the key passes that Rusnak was getting.
Sure.
So, and they're splitting corners now with JP on most of the set pieces,
Correct.
which means JP is getting more of the involvement in the attack. As weird as it sounds, that the 6 is getting more involvement than the 8.
Well, because no one's a 10, so.
Yep. So
They're
that's
both
where
10.
I'm at right now.
Jason.
Yeah, let's see. So I guess more questions or things I'll throw out that Tyler didn't have on his list or had maybe differently. Yeah, I mean, I've got Lucho Acosta. Not sure like if I would put him on the bench or put him out in the field to start. I'm going to take Forsberg. He still did really well. Even I think he got like 8 or 10 points, even though Red Bulls got shelled. I'm on the fence about Almada, even at home. I've got Cole Bassett. I'm going to start Cole Bassett. That might be a little bit of point chasing, but I mean, I think he's been pretty strong. Colorado's at home. On the fence about Pooch. Questions that I have for the group. I don't know. Like Aiden Morris, if you wanted to try and get into the Columbus midfield, I don't know if that's a really like it could be an odd choice. And I think the Gazdag shout is probably cool. I was thinking about Jack McGlynn from Philadelphia, but Gazdag's a better choice for midfield. And do we just get Mateus Rojas from Miami? Just throw him on there? I mean, dude played 45 minutes, scored 2 goals.
So I was
actually
thinking about that. If he starts, it could be a triple Miami week. Because I think that he is the real deal. So I would agree with you on that. Also with Bassett, I think it highly depends on if Mihailovic is out or not.
Yeah. Okay. You think he'll steal some of Bassett?
He takes a lot of points from Bassett, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll keep an eye on that. Yeah. Colorado's like, like you said, Tyler, like betting for or against him. I mean, like I've had Mihailovic like before he had a good game. The week before he had a good game, I had him and then I faded him. I've had Navarro, the striker, a few times, and when I've had him, he hasn't done anything. So, not sure about that, but that was who I had, at least in this top of the list.
Anything to add, Ashley?
Yeah, I just want to echo what Tyler said. I saw Cole Bassett talked about a lot, but Mihailovic was out last week, and so I don't think that's point chasing, Jason. I think that it's hitting a player as they're on the up, but Tyler's right. Mihailovic, and he kind of the way that they work together on the field makes it harder to know which one will get all the points, if that makes sense, right? And so not having Mihailovic this past weekend, I think, allowed him to do what he did. And so checking that lineup, I think, is important. And, I know we're one of us is a diehard Sounders fan and the other one is Tyler, but I echo what Tyler said about Evander. I think he is a must own in the way that the Sounders are playing right now, if he's starting, even having been out. But Neville is normally, the vagueness of the injury makes me not as sure, but Neville is one who usually isn't gonna throw. This is his first Derby too, so like he doesn't have a lot of skin in this game. I would only expect Evander to start if he's fully fit. I would think they would want to work him back. He's their best player by a mile. So
I feel like Federico Higuain or Higuain was always started whenever he was, even if he was questionable when he had Neville. Is that wrong?
I don't remember. That was at least 3 seasons ago?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah. But like Tyler said, the problem with holding out for Evander is who are you gonna pivot to?
Yeah.
So just to keep that in mind. But I like a lot of the things you said. I just I worry about whether or not Evander's going to start. I don't feel great. Well, like I said, I can't pivot to shit, but I don't feel great pivoting to a different midi if he's not starting. And I really like Cole Bassett this week, but only if Mihailovic isn't starting. But I'm less locked into Almada. I've had Almada almost every round this season, and he's underproduced more than he's produced. And that's really surprising to me. I agree with what you said, Tyler, about him being at home. But there's been so, like, away at Chicago was one. And I know everybody over and over again, and will tout it when they're right, that Atlanta's away form has been garbage this year. And that's true. But last season, Almada's away form wasn't garbage. And so it just was, statistically, it did not happen as often. But this season, he's maxing out at a 5 against a team who he should have at least double digits. So it's home. It's a good matchup. I agree. But I lean a little more towards what Jason said, which is only at home against this matchup is he a must-have for me, because he's just he's not hitting the way he has been. But this game, this round, yeah, he was, he'd be one of the first in my team. But in a general Almada sentiment, he's just not hitting the way we're used to, even though I know Atlanta on the road has been shit, but historically he hasn't been. So
I don't think it's an episode if I don't mention his name with you here. I fell into his trap last week, so I fell into the Chicago trap twice.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Heel this week?
I haven't thought of him in weeks. I forgot that he existed.
Yeah.
There's song that explains exactly how I feel about Carlos Heel. But a lot of it is because
love-hate relationship.
Yeah, I mean, the team is so bad. Caleb Porter is so bad. New England is so bad.
Don't you feel so good saying that?
I do. Well,
After all his years in Portland.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say, if you're thinking about Heel, like, the thing that I thought of was less about am I going to take him, and more to Reed's point about maybe wanting to put some New York Red Bulls defense out there. I would be worried.
Yeah,
possibly,
I think New England only has 7 goals this year.
It's low.
It's really low.
I don't remember if you said it, Tyler, but I like Forsberg this week. I've liked him.
I think he's a very good shout. I'm just trying to figure out which one of my guys switches.
Yeah. So.
Well, the fortunate thing about going with Forsberg is if you are looking at people like Pooch or Evander, you've got a built-in switcheroo, because that 7:30 game is going to be done and over by the time we hit those 10:30s, and so Evander becomes a switcheroo target for anyone who may want to go with him. You're going to definitely have points on the bench that will swap in. This is the classic conversation we've had of a captain in the Sunday game kind of situation of, like, you're locked in. That's totally, you had to pivot to somebody else, look at Seattle, or just go with whatever your bench has. But if you do have Pooch in your team, if you do have Evander in your team, you can easily preview those New York points before deciding if you're like, nah, I'm actually going to scrub him and get those points right there. So it works. It definitely works. I don't really have anybody else to add. I think you guys have made a lot of great points about sort of the risk rewards of these midfielders that we're looking right there. So I think we'll just go ahead and move on to talking about forwards. So Jason, who are you looking at?
Messi, Suarez, Aranga. And then if I was going to move away from those, the question marks that I had, do you take Cucho Hernandez for Columbus or Bernardeschi? Maybe. But this is my philosophy, I think, as I asked, when we started recording, like, is it something where you should just roster Messi and Suarez if they both start? And that's what I'm going to do. And I'll take Arango because he's been, even though he's away, he's been consistent. And LA Galaxy's defense is not that great.
Tyler.
Let's see. We're fading Messi. I got Messi. I'm also on the double up with Suarez. And then I'm on Bawanga this week because at home, he's a whole different person. On the road, he's the opposite of that person. So I'm on the home version of Bawanga this week currently. I'm on the same boat as Jason. I'm like, Cucho? Maybe? I think he could show up. I think if he does show up, he's going to put up at least 2 goal contributions, whether it's an assist and a goal, 2 goals, whatever it is. And I think the only other one that I would look at is possibly Arango, but I don't know. I'm not feeling Arango this week. I'd rather go Belonga and double up Miami.
Yeah, that is the question. So for chat right now and Ashley weigh in, is it time for running Suarez Messi?
I think the only thing that should hold you up about it is it's a road game. And someone will correct me on this, perhaps it was turf inflicted, but Suarez at least has come off the bench in some of the road games. I would need to, I know this sounds like a callback cop-out, but I can't go in and look at his
Saputo
stuff.
is grass, by the way.
What?
Saputo Stadium is grass.
That was
Right.
gonna be my
No,
question.
I know that. I'm just saying I couldn't remember if he came off the
was
bench
off.
because it was
turf.
turf
Yeah, it was.
or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I know Montreal is grass. I couldn't remember if the reason he didn't start was because where they went was turf or not. I think it was when they were in New England.
New England, yeah.
But I think that it's always been a viable choice. I think a lot of us are just seeing what he did last round and saying, well, now we need both. I don't know that what do I always say about hat tricks, Reed?
You said that you could never get them. No, I don't know what you said. I forgot.
It never happened twice.
That's true. They never happened twice. That's right.
But I'm not faulting.
Do you think Suarez can't do it twice, though?
This is what I was going to say. I'm not faulting a Messi Suarez. I think Messi is a must no matter what starting. I will never hear anything different. I think that Montreal is bad enough. It's a big stretch for them. That's a farther travel than either of them have had to do outside of MLS in previous years. That's a big travel. I think if Suarez starts too, it completely makes sense to have him. I also like Belonga at home. His stats support that greatly. And I also agree that Cucho tends to show up for these derby games, and they're coming off a really big high with what they just went through down, in the CONCACAF. So I think that the kind of rotation, if you will, Reed, in the Cincy back line and keeper situation makes Cucho a decent shout for sure.
Yeah.
The only other name that I wanted to throw out, I don't think he's as flashy, and he definitely hasn't put up the double-digit points that the rest of these names have, but is Klaus for St. Louis at home. Like I said, not as big number producing, but I like that matchup, and so I'm wondering if this is the breakout game for him, right? Like I feel like both Messi and Belonga are chasing stats that have already happened. I'm looking at what Klaus has been doing at home, how St. Louis is coming together, and wondering if this might be that game for him, but I don't have a golden ball. I don't even, I can't even get in, so who knows?
Can Rui Diaz get in this conversation or no?
No.
Is he not, like,
Get in out.
out of left field?
What about Rodriguez? Is it Rodriguez? Portland? The guy from Portland?
Yeah.
DP they brought in?
Yeah.
I mean, is that a kind of...
If Evander starts.
If Evander starts, yeah. They don't look quite as good. But he scored against LAFC without Evander. Rodriguez did. It was a wonder goal, but he still did it.
6 shots during that game.
What?
6 shots during that game.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely a viable striker. He's a proven goal scorer in Liga MX, so I don't dislike him at home against an offbeat Sounders defense, but the defense has been the most consistent part about the Sounders this season. Rui Diaz, he does score at Portland. He scores at Portland pretty consistently.
More than any other team.
Yep, more than any other team, but that is not... I don't like the Sounders right now.
I don't either.
I don't like that. No, Tyler's already jumped ship. I bought a new hat, and Tyler's sporting other teams' jerseys.
Second appearance in a row.
Oh God, you're the worst.
And my name is now Clickinator. I would like to point out, I'm doing them a solid. I have every game that I've watched the Sounders play, they have lost. Every game that I have not watched them play, they either get a tie or at least keep it close enough when they get a win.
I offered Tyler free tickets that I have on the 50-yard line, and he was like, "No."
You're not wrong.
He said no.
I wasn't feeling it. And they lost bad that game, too.
That was the double red card game. I'm so glad you weren't there. I never would have heard the end of it. But, Reed, do you like any other strikers that we didn't name?
No, nobody else than you already named. I mean, right now I have Messi, Suarez, and Bawanga on my team of who I'm looking at. GG, I just haven't found consistent. I'd rather go with Almada to get a piece of that Atlanta action. I'd consider Cucho for sure. I mean, it's been the offensive Cincinnati that struggled. Celentano should be back in the picture, and we'll see what they line up with. But the main defense is there, and so we've got that core. But that's a huge game. It's a ridiculous game, and so I am not counting on clean sheets in that game. So I think Cucho is absolutely a viable pick if you want to pivot right there. So, but I'm on Messi, Suarez, Bawanga, considering the triple up of Miami attack as well. So we'll see where he put it on. So moving on to our captain section. I'll ask it different this week because Tyler was like, "Do we even have to do this?" Is anyone not picking Messi?
No. Okay, but do the other question. Who will you pick if he's not starting?
So that is the other question. If Messi does not start, who will you pick, or will it still be Messi, hoping that he subs in?
You know what? I'll be wild here. I will captain. I'm between Lucho and Danny Bawanga if it's not Messi. I'm actually leaning towards Lucho, but you're not wanting Cincy this week makes me.
I mean, I've got Lucho. I've got Lucho.
Fandom guide me in fantasy choices, and it's almost always proven me wrong.
Okay, then I'll captain Lucho if I don't have Messi.
With that said,
if a godly wonder happens to Messi, then I will have Lucho.
I've got Lucho, so I mean I'm not anti Cincinnati. So, I mean we've struggled with attack, but the one person who has been scoring has been Lucho. So I mean he's scored in all but like 3 games, and in one of those 3 games he didn't score. He still put up like an 8 or something. Yeah. So he's got.
I would do Bawanga, I think.
Me too.
Yeah, I'd probably if Messi didn't start. I mean that I might. Yeah, I'd probably go Bawanga. I don't have Bawanga in my team right now, but maybe I would do some kind of pivot and do that. Or, I mean, my sense is the consensus seems to be also that if Messi's not starting, you probably ought not to count as much from Suarez on production from Suarez. I don't really know how realistic that is or not, or how much data we have on that. But
we have 1 game data.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight. I hope you found this information helpful as we get ready to build your round 12 team. We're going to wrap everything else up tonight with our plugs. Jason.
Let's see. I want to plug all the people who are playing this game and they're like playing regularly, but they're in their rank is 500s or in the 600s. So for sticking it out with me down like in the basement, and also Throninator, whoever the guy is on. Person on Discord who does the weather for all the games.
Yes.
I will give him a specific plug.
A personal weatherman.
Yeah. Right. Tyler.
I need to give an extra big shout out to both Brandon and Matt this week. I was so sick, and they stepped up and did the article anyways, and even wrote my pick for me. I just told them who I wanted, and they wrote the whole thing, so they deserve a big shout, Brandon and Matt.
Ashley, do I dare?
I'd like to plug MLS and Facebook. I don't know whose fault it is, but they can't see me, so.
So if you get your team back, are you going to change your name to FC Zuckerberg?
No, I'm going to change my name to I Fucking Hate You.
Oh, okay. There it is.
And they'll know who they are.
To plus 14 points. That's what you gotta change your name
Plus
to.
14 points.
There you go. Well, for me, as always, of course, reiterating all the plugs for the Discord. It's an amazing place to go and join and be a community member there. It's fantastic. It's friendly. It's fun. And so can't plug that enough. Of course, MLSFantasyBoss.com, where we have Tyler's regular articles. Jason used to contribute to us as well when we did some projects, so no fantasy slouch there. But MLSFantasyBoss.com, where you get everything, including the summary of the Discord player poll, where you can go and vote each week on who our members are considering for how they rank the players, comparing that to other rankings out there. So a very fun project that we all participate in, and big hats off to Christian who helps coordinate that. So yeah, but that's it. Check out everything that comes out on that project. Thank you so much to everyone who contributes, all the patrons who support to keep us going. And as always, good luck.